Welcome back, everyone, to Ask the King, episode 92 for September 22nd, 2022. This is the second half, meaning I've decided I'm just going to keep going and finish the show. We're not going to have a part 3. I still have a lot of questions to get through. Thanks to everyone who has chilled with me and supported the stream so far in any way. And let's continue, shall we? Here we go. Our next question is from Dragon Master B101. Dragon Master asked the following. Phil, I know that you're in your 40s now. Oh, do I look it? I look like I'm like 80. And you have a balance between your private and work life, which is fine. Why don't you want to have a child? Is it because both you and your significant other don't want it? Is it because you think financially you won't be able to handle it? I find it strange because you seem like you would be an awesome and strict but wise father. It's too personal to answer, then I understand this, but I'm curious. You and Kat are both responsible adults, and I personally think it's sad to pass off on this earth with no bloodline to continue to honor your name and keep your family history tree going. I hope that your reasoning is not due to any animosity you think your child would receive due to your work life. Always wishing you the best, my guy. Keep doing you. All right, before we get to the real answer, let's answer here's the answer for the trolls that they can clip, and then they can not pay attention to the real answer. Well, if I have a kid, I'd have to spend all my money on the kid. How would I afford to play mobile games and pull all day and try to get, superstars and cards and shit, right? There you go. So there's the dumb answer. I got it out of the way. Now let them clip that and let them do bullshit with it. Okay, let's give the real answer. There's tons of factors here, okay? Factor number 1, I'm 40 years old. To have a kid at 40 is a daunting task. Why? Because I want to see that kid grow up and I want to be there for their formative years. And, luckily for me right now, do I have any debilitating illnesses? No. Do I have illnesses? Yes, I do. Do I tell you guys about them? No, I don't. You guys have no idea. All you know is that I have gout. You're not aware of my other medical conditions, nor would I feel like sharing them with you at this time. But I have them. And yeah, I'm not in perfect health. Okay. I wish I was in better health, but I'm not in perfect health. All right. There's a chance that I could pass away earlier than I would like. I would like to be here till I'm 100, but I doubt it. Right now, if I'm going to have a kid today, let's say I had a kid today, this very day. Right. So now I'm going to be 60 something years old before they're really an adult. Right. What if they get married and have a family? Now, don't you want to have a grandfather? Well, I'm already going to be super old. I'm not going to be around. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel that having a kid at 40 is kind of late. That's number 1. That's just my take. You can completely disagree with that. I think that's kind of old. My parents had me when they were younger, So they were there for me for my formative years and everything. It was a little different. I think it would be a little different. That's factor number 1. Factor number 2. In my lifetime, all right, never did I consider myself one of those people who basically aspired to be a dad or thought that being a parent was some kind of an important, necessary part of life, okay? I'll be honest with you guys, and you guys may not like this take, but this is my honest take. Having a kid is fucking easy. Having a child is an easy thing to do. Having sex with someone of the opposite gender, impregnating them, getting them pregnant, and then having the baby, that's the easy part. The hard part is everything that comes after, all right? So just the fact that you have a kid doesn't mean shit. It really doesn't. It's bullshit. I have people, it's such a special thing to be a dad or a mom. Anyone could do that. That's not anything special at all. What's special is the people who take that responsibility seriously and put in the time, the money, the dedication, the love, the attention to make a beautiful human being out of what you created. That's the difference. And sadly, on this planet, we have far too many people who just think the act of procreation is something special and don't understand that it's actually everything that comes after that that's special, not the act itself. Okay? So for me, if I were going to procreate, I want to be sure that that is a being that's going to grow up in a healthy household, in a place where there's morality, in a place where there's protection, in a place where everything's taken care of so they can have a good education. And you know what I'm saying? All those things are key. Now, I have the kid first, then I think about all that shit after the fact. No, I would never do that. I would absolutely, positively never do that. Okay, that's not me as a person, all right? So for me, you take a look at my life and the tumultuous life I've lived in the last 14 years that I've been a content creator, and to some extent the last 11 years that I've done this as a job. And you say, at any point during that, have I been in a point in my life where I felt that things were safe or steady? Well, yes and no. All right? The funny part about what I do for a living, okay, is that I basically have had the most stable job ever in my life right here. Literally me sitting here putting out content on the internet with all of you is the most stable thing I've ever done. And I've done fast food jobs. I've done retail jobs. I had office jobs that were supposed to be cushy jobs that as long as you work hard, you get promoted, you get with the in crowd, and the next thing you know, you got a career, you got a job for life. I've done it all. Every one of them has let me down. Literally every job that I had let me down. The only one that didn't was my very first job I ever had, where I worked for VJ. His name was VJ, and he was a young Indian man who owned this everything yogurt and salad cafe in Connecticut. VJ was the best boss I've ever had in my life, and probably will remain the best boss I ever had till the day I die, because he was a nice guy. And even though, quite frankly, minimum wage was kind of underpaid for the work I was doing, he gave me the hours I needed. He was a friend to me outside of just being my boss. That was the one job in my life that I actually didn't like, but I actually liked. I didn't like the job, but I liked being there because the boss was a nice guy and the people there were good. Outside of that, anything I've ever done in my life was a waste of time. And completely, you know what I'm saying? So the thing is, I can argue that this job I'm doing right now is the best job I've ever had and the most stable, and even then it's not stable, right? Because look at the shit that happens. This month, I have $1,000 less income. Why? Trolling. People abusing the broken copyright system of YouTube, and I pay for it. Why? Is that fair? No, but that's life. That's how it is they're doing this. This is things like this. I might have 1 month where everything's great, and the next month everything tanks. You never know what's going to happen, right? So all that being said, yeah, that is a factor. Absolutely. The fact that this is what I do for a living has been a factor. And yes, what Dragon Master directly references here, I would hope that part of your reasoning is not due to the animosity you think your child would receive due to your work life. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Positively, 100%. I'm afraid that if I ever had a kid, this kid would be harassed forever. Why? Nothing logical. Nothing that makes sense. The people who harass me online don't make sense. So I know that they would take it the step beyond. It's not just harassing Phil anymore. It's harassing his family members. It's harassing everyone around the periphery of him that have nothing to do with him, but because they're even close to him, they get affected. It's harassing his supporters, his moderators, anyone on the internet who has something positive to say to Phil, they get harassed. Oh, Phil's going to have a kid? Harass the kid. It would never end. And it's just sad. It's just sad that that's reality, but that's reality for me. My wife and I have grown to a point where we've realized that we will have to put up with this forever, but we've kind of become numb to it, to the point where I don't think that anything they do will like end my life or end my business. You know what I'm saying? They've tried at every angle and it failed. We'll definitely have to put up with bullshit forever, and there will always be things that are going to happen that will be annoying. I lost revenue this month because of a troll. My channel got temporarily shut down because of a troll. Some harassment in real life because of a troll. Because I don't tell you guys about that on purpose. Because when you give them the attention for the shit they do, they just do it more. Okay? But, all that being said, squeakiness outside. I think there's a bird outside. You hear that? You hear that, Jasper? I hear it too. Squeakiness outside. I think there was a creature. It's a bird. There's a loud bird out there. We have the window open. It's going making all kinds of noise. Anyway, all that stuff being said, okay, there's just a ton of factors. And at this point in my life, I'm 40 years old. I'm not going to have a kid. All right? Kat and I, we have no desire to have a child. You know what I mean? If we already have a life where we feel we don't spend enough time together because I'm in this office 6 days a week working just to make ends meet. If she is really trying to get better hours and a better job, and she's been doing it for years and hasn't been able to, what the hell makes us think we can raise a kid? How would that even ever happen? Right? And again, we're the kind of people where it's not about having the kid is the magical thing and then you figure it out after the fact. That's bullshit. Literally anyone on this fucking planet, unless you have an issue with your reproductive system, which some people do, and that's unfortunate. But most people can just have a kid. It's not a big deal. You're not some special, amazing achievement in your life because you had the kid. What's amazing is that you raised the person to be an awesome, moral person that adds to human society as a whole. That's the awesome part that you have to pull off. That's the tough work, okay? And I just don't see it happening with us, okay? That's all I can say about that. All right? It's not going to happen. It's out of the cards. If anything, for our life, we may have some pets like Jasper and stuff like that. That will be our outlet for us to feel like parents, and that's about it. That's all we can do. How on earth would I raise a kid when I don't have enough time to spend with my wife as it is? We haven't gone on a honeymoon. We have arguably 1 day a week to spend together. How am I going to raise a kid, man? It ain't going to happen. Okay. Malcolm did a super chat. Malcolm asked, if you get another pet, what would it be? Funny question. We're just talking about being a pet parent, right? So, Kat and I have talked about other pets. And sadly, here's the thing with Jasper, okay? Jasper's a cat. And that means a few things. Cats like small animals for all the wrong reasons, right? Cats are natural predators. It's in their instinct to hunt and kill and eat small creatures. So number one, you might say, why not just get another cat, right? Why not get more cats? Fill the house with cats, brim to brim, right? That would be a bad idea. You want to know why? Because Jasper is a certain personality type of a cat. He's known as what they call the party cat or the mojito cat or the social cat. What Jasper is he is the demander of attention. When he's in a room, he absolutely wants all the attention focused on him, or he's involved in whatever's going on. If you leave him out, he feels upset. He feels left out, and he will try to interject himself into that situation. Perfect example. Last night, my wife said, I want to make some banana bread. So we had all the ingredients. She tries to make banana bread. Of course, Jasper has to come over and try to jump on the counter and walk into everything she's trying to do because he's the party cat, the social cat. I'm in this. Well, Jasper, you have nothing to do with banana bread. What are you doing here? That's who he is, okay? With a social cat like that, okay, you can't interject another pet like that because that cat already, especially because Jasper here, all right, has been with us for many years. He's used to a certain setup. He's used to being the only focus of attention, everything about him, okay? The moment that we would introduce another pet to take up attention from him of a same stature, and what I mean by that is there are pets you could probably get that aren't the same as a cat, that are kind of different, maybe don't have as much attention demanding, you know what I'm saying? That maybe that could work. But as for like a cat, you know, if you introduce another cat or a dog, it would never work. He would end up becoming upset, depressed, and acting out and destroying things in the house, and likely incredibly unhappy because he has it in a way that he's used to it, that he likes this. This is his lifestyle now. You know what I'm saying? You can't then change that for the pet that's happy. I mean, oh, well, it would make us more happy to have another pet. Great, but what about the pets you already have? You already brought them into this life. Now you're going to change and ruin that life for your own personal betterment? You know what I'm saying? So I would say absolutely no. We would not get another cat. We talked about it. We like looking at cats. There's cats out at different shelters, and pet stores have them out here, you know, rescue cats and stuff. We absolutely love looking at other cats, but we're not going to get one because we know he's the kind of cat. If he was a more laid-back cat, absolutely. There's tons of laid-back cats out there. He's definitely not that. He's completely different personality type. Okay? Now, other pets. We like cute pets. We've looked at things like hamsters, guinea pigs, birds, right? Even small lizards or fish. They're all off the table. Why? Because that's his prey. If you buy a pet like that, and you introduce it to a household where you already have a predator animal, all you're doing is torturing the small creature and the predator animal. You're setting them up for failure. Why do that? If you know you have an insatiable craving for chocolate, why would you fill your house with chocolate? Right? So why put him into that situation where now he's going to be constantly tempted to hunt, attack, and mess with that animal. Even if you made it impossible. Like you can make a fish tank, right? That's crazy good thick glass and everything's safe. The cat can't put its paw in or whatever. He's just going to be tortured by it. He's going to be jumping and pawing. He's like, oh, I want the fish. I want the fish. Why do that to the cat? All you're doing is you're torturing your cat, right? I don't want to do that. So that's what I mean. Like, we would like to have other pets, but we haven't really found one that would fit. If he was more of a social, if he was less of a social demanding cat and he was more laid back, then we absolutely might have considered a second cat or a dog. We're living in a place that is very friendly to those kind of pets. We have a dog walk park literally behind our house where we could take and play with the dog every day. Wouldn't it be a big deal to take it out for walks and the like? You see, but it's sadly just not going to happen. Maybe one day, when Jasper's no longer with us, and we hope that does not happen anytime soon. We hope that he's with us for a very long time and he has a long, healthy life with us. But maybe one day, when he's no longer with us, we would consider maybe doing something different. Maybe instead of a cat, you get a bird or a little furry creature or maybe multiple things that don't have that, doesn't jive together kind of a vibe. But for us, I think Jasper is our pet for now, for the long haul, and then we see what happens. Okay? Great Zero Taste asked the following. Do you think that games have gotten harder or easier over the years? And with either answer, why do you think so? For example, if games have gotten easier, why do you think so? Games overall have gotten easier for sure to appeal to a more widespread mainstream audience. I'll give you an example. Street Fighter. Up until Street Fighter 3, every installed numbered Street Fighter was a game that was hard to execute. Then in Street Fighter 4, they introduced input shortcuts. In Street Fighter 5, they literally introduced gameplay made for input delay online, so it was just pattern play. With each iteration of Street Fighter, they dumb it down more and more so that a more widespread audience can play it and enjoy it, but at the very same time, you can argue that that's taking away from the competitive nature of the game. Same thing you can argue with video games. At first, on the NES days, man, were they challenging. Why? Because they couldn't fit a lot of stuff on a game cartridge. So make it hard so that way it takes you a million years to beat it, and then you're getting play value out of it, right? Even though you spent $50-$60 on an NES game that didn't have more than 4 levels, man, it would take you a ton of time to beat those 4 levels. Today, we now have the ability to have games be open world, tons of content, ridiculous amounts of gameplay hours, right? Make the game easy so now anyone can jump into that game with no prerequisite knowledge, with no skill level, and still be able to enjoy that game, and it'll sell like hotcakes. That seems to be the mentality of the modern game designer, okay? Or I should say the modern game studio, because it's usually the people in charge, not the game designers who make those decisions. However, we are seeing a whole different genre emerge of the ultra difficult game. We've been talking about it. The From Software games. The games that are purposely made to be difficult so that you have a level of skill required in order to persevere over them. And it almost seems like it's gatekeeping so that those people who've been playing the more dumbed down common games cannot succeed in those games. You know what I'm saying? So it goes both ways. Yes, overall games have gotten easier, but there is a sub-splinter of games that have purposefully gotten harder. The next question is incredibly long, all right? So this one's going to take a while to read and likely will take a while to answer. It is from the Snorlax King, and I would like to read it now. Prepare yourselves. It's very lengthy. Okay. The Snorlax King asked the following. By the way, it's a bunch of questions. I don't know if I'll answer them all, but I'll do my best to summarize. The Snorlax King says the following. Excuse me. Hello, Phil. First asking a question here on Ask the King. Kind of going to write a long one. I felt it was important to get this across. I have a point that I want to make to you and everyone who may listen or read this. I want to first express to you, over the last couple of months, I've really found myself enjoying your content more and more, and I think that you've done a good job not only entertaining us viewers, but mixing your things up. I appreciate how you've not been afraid to react to more controversial videos on subjects about yourself, such as Down the Rabbit Hole, and other reactions, and how you've also chosen to confront these things head on and openly talk about some of these issues. I especially thought your reactions and honesty regarding the whole John Rambo situation is especially eye-opening. Not to say that you were some awful person beforehand, make no mistake, but I do believe that you have changed for the better as a person, and I'm glad to see that you have grown wiser over the years. I would just like to say, thank you. That was nice to say. We didn't get to a question yet, but everything he just said, I agree with. I've done that. I tried to do the work to become a better person, a better content creator, to fess up to my failures of the past, to try to commit to you guys that I would not redo those failures in the future. And I felt like a lot of the reaction stuff I did this year did that. Okay? There's a smudge right dead center of this, and it's bothering me. Okay, continuing on. As I expressed to you in an email a few weeks ago, I fell down into a DSP hate bandwagon because I was watching the This Is How You Don't Play series. Sure, watching you fail at games like Metal Gear Solid 3 or Dark Souls may be funny, but it never should have gotten to the levels that it even was just a few years ago, going up until today. It's only now I've come to realize how the internet can lead impressionable young men and women down dark territories, all for the idea of an easy laugh or cheap entertainment. A lot of people got caught up in the hate towards you, and it became so vile and personal. We often forget that people on the screen are human beings with feelings. I can never make up for falling down into that pipeline myself, but I now hope that I'm older and wiser, and someone about to begin their own work career as I end college, and I can educate people on the dangers of imminent internet pipelines, and people avoid falling down those traps. Again, no question there, but I completely agree with you. And let me tell you, when I saw This Is How You Don't Play begin over a decade ago, I thought my concern was that they were going to take away my revenue because I didn't foresee how the future was going to go. I didn't see that I would be a full-time streamer with crowdfunding. I didn't see that YouTube ad revenue would disappear. I thought, man, they're ruining my living. If someone else steals my content and makes fun of me, people are going to watch the making fun of content, not the original. That's how I make my living, is the ad revenue. So I didn't foresee how this future would go. Quite frankly, if I did, I might have reacted differently. If I realized it wasn't going to be that big of a deal, maybe I wouldn't have freaked out about it the way I did and basically became a meme over it. You know, raging and being so angry at those videos coming out the way that they did. Okay? But absolutely, I don't think anyone could argue against the fact that This Is How You Don't Play kind of innocent fun, making fun of me sucking at games, became an insane amount of this cult, this brainwashed group of people who just hate my guts for no good reason, who make conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory up in order to propagate this endless circle of toxic hate that just isn't justified. So I appreciate you recognizing that. Continuing on. Not that I want you to get put on a soapbox or anything, but I genuinely would like to know your thoughts on internet pipelines and how people can turn twisted. And can people truly change? Have you noticed more people coming around and supporting you lately who used to be haters? Do you worry about people who watch you who are secret trolls? So let me answer all that first because there's more to go. What I can say is I definitely feel like this year there's been kind of a breakthrough where a lot of people realize that this is just stupid at this point. You know, how long are you going to keep hating on me and circling this endless propaganda against me? What's the point? If you haven't noticed, hi, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere, right? They've tried everything for no good reason, no good justifiable reason. They tried it and nothing happened. All that happens is the same idiots keep circle jerking each other, keep telling each other their same lies and think that it's funny. It's not. Outsiders now have begun to look at the situations and be like, what the fuck is this? Well, people are behaving like this on the internet. Wow, I never knew that. I never even knew this kind of thing existed. These people are nuts, And if anything, a lot of people have finally kind of come around and said, all right, I hated on Phil, right? But I decided to give him a shot and I actually like his stuff, and I like to come and watch his stuff. Some people even support me now who used to hate me. And I appreciate all of that. I really do, okay? I just wish that the endless levels of harassment was up. Like those false copyright strikes last month, that's unacceptable. And now I've lost revenue that I need to pay my bills and make a living. And now I have to sit here on stream with you guys and talk to you about it and say, hey, can you guys give me some extra support now? Because I'm in bad straits, because of these assholes. This is bullshit. I shouldn't have to do that, right? So that's what I mean. That's where it crosses the line. But I think more and more people are realizing how stupid this shit is and are like, I've had enough. Either they're moving on from it or they're kind of turning the corner and saying, you know what? I'm going to chill with Phil. I'm going to have a good time and I'm actually enjoying this stuff. Okay, I have seen a lot of that recently in the last year or two. Can people truly change? I like to believe they can. I don't want to give up hope on humanity that just because someone was an asshole once means they're going to be an asshole forever. I used to be an asshole. I used to troll the SRK, which is SureYouCan.com community and the Street Fighter community as a whole. I changed. If I can change for the better, I think everyone can. Okay. Do I worry about people watching me being secret trolls? No. I'm not worried about that shit. I know for a fact that there's people on the stream who are literally here just to sneak diss or be a part of a meme or whatever, you know? But those people aren't going to be super harmful. It's the people who are willing to go that extra mile to literally break the law to try to get me in trouble with shit I didn't do. That's when we're getting into some serious shit, okay? Okay. Let's continue on with the question. You've already been dealing with false copyright strikes, which impacts you as a content creator. It's crazy to think at the drop of a hat, your livelihood could be threatened. As someone who suffered a panic attack a few years ago, and I've dealt with newfound issues of anxiety for the last few years, I can't imagine the toll all this takes on you and your mental health. I have immense sympathy for the situation that you've had as of late. What impact has the last decade plus of content creation had on you? What advice can you give to people such as myself in regards to being up-and-coming content creators and those dealing with anxiety every day? Here's the thing. If I wasn't going through this kind of shit previously in my life, I probably wouldn't have been ready for it. But been there, done that. I was hated on in the Street Fighter community and kind of became kind of immune to it. And like I said, you guys know me. I'm the kind of person that uses all the vitriol tossed my way and the things said about me to motivate myself to do better and still to be successful, right? The only way to really show these scumbags on the internet that they're in the wrong is to prove to them that I'm not going anywhere and that I'm going to be here forever no matter what they did, right? Until I'm ready. When I'm ready, the day I'm ready to say I throw in the towel, that's one thing. But I'm not going to be going away because of these assholes. You know what I'm saying? So all that being said, yeah, it takes a toll, man. It takes a toll. I'm getting, copyright strikes are hitting. I'm like, oh my God, now what's going to happen? I lost $1,000. Do you understand that? $1,000. $1,000. This is not, it's $50. It's not a big deal. Now, I'm not kidding you. The money that I normally would have had to pay my bills in the early month, the next month, I do not have. Now I need to come up with that somehow from my streams. Now I have to talk to you guys and appeal to you to help me out. And I'm tired of it. I'm fucking tired of it. It's mentally exhausting. It's emotionally exhausting. How do you think it feels for us around here when my wife is working as much as she can, right? And I told you guys the problem she's having. She works a retail job. She's tried to get better jobs. It doesn't work out, all right? No one will hire you when you don't have experience. How do you get experience if you can't get hired to begin with? Doesn't make any fucking sense, does it? Right? So she's stuck working retail jobs. They won't give her hours. She works hard. They tell her she's a good employee. Cut the hours. Oh, the store didn't do so good, so cut the hours. Oh, that's great, right? So she's busting her ass. She's stressed out. I'm busting my ass. I'm stressed out. Yeah, it feels like shit. But, it gets to a point where it's kind of like, it's just something that's always happened. It's something that, like, I live with, I don't know if I'll ever have stability. You have to say, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Well, there is. Hopefully in a few years, all right, I'll get to a point where it won't matter anymore. And here's what I mean by that. If I can get to a point where my credit comes back in a positive way, which is still going to take at a minimum 5 more years. If I get my credit back, now I have equity in my home and I can hopefully use that to do things like get rid of all this looming debt that I have on me that I can't pay off, and these issues that I'm having financially won't be a big deal when I actually have flexibility financially. Right now I have zero. Literally what I make this month on YouTube is all I have. That's it. There's nothing else. There's no savings. There's no credit. There's nothing. Okay? And it's going to take years and years. But if I can tough that out, that's the light at the end of the tunnel. In 5 years, maybe I'll be able to actually go on a honeymoon with my wife. Because let me tell you, nothing else, if you haven't noticed, there's no giant income increases or anything that I'm getting here. It's stable. It's good. I'm happy for what I got. But that's really where it's going to have to come from, is toughing it out. You know what I'm saying? And that's my life. So, yeah, I wish that I had a better way to talk about it, but I don't. Is it debilitating to the point where, yeah, I feel like shit sometimes? Yes. Do I get scared sometimes about the future? Yes. Are there times when it's so much that I feel that, mentally I feel like I might crack? Yeah, that happens. But at the same time, I have an awesome viewer base every day who support me, who give me fun times, who have told me how valuable I am to their lives, and that the fact that I'm here and I'm diligent and I tough myself, I tough through my tough times, and that inspires other people to tough their way through their own tough times, right? So that's why I'm not giving up on anything. I'm going to still be here. You know, it's motivation to keep going when otherwise maybe there is none, you know? I am very sad that I don't have a better life for myself and my family. I want to do nice things with my wife. I've told you for 3 years we want to go to the zoo. Guess where we haven't gone for 3 years? We still haven't gone to the fucking zoo. But that's life, you know? It is what it is. I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna cry and be entitled and say I should have gotten more out of life. I've got a lot as it is. I've got more than most people. Who am I to stand here and be ungrateful for what I have, right? You got to be happy for what you have. You got to enjoy every moment, and you got to approach everything with positivity and look forward to something better in the future. That's how I approach it. Okay? Now, to finish up, because he's still not done. Has harassment on the internet gotten worse, or if things turn around for the better? It fluctuates. There's times when things are absolutely terrible, and there's times when things are not so bad. But it fluctuates. Last year, I thought things were good, and then I get kicked out of the partner program on Twitch because of trolls. You know? It's like, damn. And again, the reason that they have for me, that they have issue with me, is the reason they created. If they would not fuck with my income, then guess what? I wouldn't have these issues where I need to ask my viewers for more support. Don't fuck with the income that's already there. I don't have to ask for help. But they don't get that because they're stupid. They're that stupid. When you deal with stupid people, you get stupid things like this happening, you know? Anyway, let's finish this up. I think these are quite personal questions to ask. I feel like your experiences can help and educate others. Thank you for taking the time to read through this essay of sorts. I appreciate you giving me your time as someone who used to be a hater and allow me to have a clean slate with you. I'm thankful for the entertainment that you brought over the years. Stay strong, and I hope you continue to do what you do for many more. You certainly have someone who will now be a frequent viewer and supporter, and I appreciate that. Snorlax King. It's very nice things that you said there. The thing is, I talk about it all the time. I don't really like going into massive detail about the shit they do. Here's the other thing too. The more you talk about them, the more empowered they feel. Literally me just addressing this in your question. Oh, Phil talked about me today. Now they have a warm fuzzy inside because they exist. Because the day that I don't bring them up, they don't exist. That's the truth of the matter. They're not real. They're fucking fake people fabrications on the internet. Why do they got to sit on Kiwi Farms and other sites circle jerking each other? Because they don't fucking exist until the moment that they get some kind of recognition from someone. So the less we talk is the better. All right? That's my approach. Let's focus on the positive. Let's focus on the fun, the good stuff. Let's not talk about the scumbags that are always going to be there, that element. All right? Thank you very much to anonymous $5 tipper. All right? It says, we owe you. No, excuse me. What did I just say? We owe you. I read that completely backwards. We love you for real, man. I can't stand people who hate on you for no reason other than their sheep mentality that leads them to regurgitate what others say about you. I'm watching your Detroit Become Human series right now. I'm having a great time. Sounds good. Thank you to the anonymous tipper for that. We're now at $64 in tips. Again, guys, I really need the help. It would be great if we can at least hit the goal today. If we don't, it is what it is. I don't want to talk about it at length, but I could definitely use some more tip support on this stream. Thank you. Continuing on. Derek says, I believe that this is episode 92 of Ask the King. That is correct. Here's my question. What kind of music do you and Kat listen to these days? Any recommendations? I'm interested because I love listening to music in my spare time. Quite frankly, the only music we've been listening to is what's considered relaxing cafe-style music at the end of every evening. After we relax for a little bit, we'll usually watch a playthrough or a show or maybe have a drink. Some nights, not every night, but some nights, we enjoy a drink together, an adult beverage. We turn on some relaxing cafe-style music. And we listen to it for a bit before she goes upstairs to usually take a shower, and then we get ready for sleep. So that's about it. We don't actively listen to music. When I'm driving around on the day off and I'm running errands, there's a classic rock station on the radio station. I'll turn that on, and I'll listen to whatever classic rock is playing on there, and that's it. Not a musical guy these days. Okay, continuing on. Now we head on to the forum questions. So these are not questions from members. We literally just finished the members question. So do you see my point? All right, that if you're a member, what a chance to get your question answered in an intelligent way on the show That was the vast majority of the show. Now, open forum questions. Sergio360 asked the following. You being a target of social media and internet hate and harassment, what do you think should be done by the social media platforms like YouTube and Twitter to prevent harassment and hate speech? I feel like the internet has grown exponentially with most users having a cell phone or other media device, but regulations are almost non-existent. When in your view do you believe you crossed the line with freedom of speech? Sorry, I'm not trying to be political. It's not a political question, but I'm trying to understand you as a daily user, one of the biggest platforms. What should be done to not allow hate or harassment, specifically on a platform that kids like my sons who are underage might come across and think that it's funny? Thanks, and I wish you the best. Been a viewer since 2014. I absolutely love your perseverance and dedication towards your goal. Well, here's the thing. Right? Man. Do I wish that YouTube would step up and stop the bullshit? Yes. But it's a slippery slope, right? Should anyone on YouTube be able to literally make shit up about me without any factual justification of any of it? Because if you actually look at the documentaries about the shit that they say today, it's not like the Down the Rabbit Hole documentary, all right? The Down the Rabbit Hole documentary about me was based on mostly facts and some logic jumps based on things people said on the internet. When I did my react to that, I cleared some of those up. Most notably, the Street Fighter community stuff was wrong. But outside of that, most of the stuff said there was correct, right? Why? Because it was based on shit I did in my own streams. You could see and do me saying things, doing things, and you want to say he's a bad gamer, he said something stupid on a stream and acted a dumb way, and call me out for it, that's one thing. But once you jump from the realm of here's concrete evidence because he just did it to here's a bunch of bullshit that everyone claims is real. Emails, leaks, screen captures, fucking Discord logs. I mean, I could go on for 2 hours about the amount of nonsense these idiots have amassed to make a proving point about something that's not true. Okay? That shit is dangerous. It really is. And you gotta wonder, should YouTube do something about it? Should YouTube just allow anyone right now to make a video that's complete fabrication, no factual justification, that could defame someone and make profit off of it, right? Because they do. These videos are popular. They hit the YouTube algorithm because they check all the boxes needed. And in a lot of cases, the drama video, okay, ends up getting more attention than the content that the person the drama video is about puts out. I've been around for 14 years, and the drama videos about me that are wrong, they are false, they are slander or defamation, whatever you want to call it. It's fabricated bullshit. Those videos absolutely get more attention than the stuff that I do on the internet. Why? Because people are fucking drama queen idiots who are willing to believe the negative before the positive because they like to see people fail. All right? Miserable people love to see people fail, and there's a lot of miserable people on this planet. Okay? And because YouTube allows it. Those are the two factors. Tons of miserable people and YouTube allowing the defamation and slander. So, should there be an interjection at some point where YouTube says, hey, we're not going to allow this anymore. You just can't say whatever you want about someone and show a bunch of fucking nonsensical, circumstantial, in some cases fabricated evidence. You can't do that. You're hurting someone and their livelihood and their reputation. You can't just violently, because it is, at some point, is it physically violent? No. But it's absolutely so damaging to someone's reputation and business, it could be considered violence of another kind, you know? You can't just allow that. But YouTube does. In very rare cases will YouTube do anything about it, only if there's like outright physical threats. Like if someone made one of those videos and said, hey, now I want you to go out and attack Darkside Phil because of all this horrible stuff, that would not be allowed. But the fact that the fake information is there, presented as fact, and creates a misrepresentation of who someone is, slander or defamation, that in itself needs to be analyzed by YouTube, in my opinion, in some capacity. Okay? In India, it's illegal. In the country of India, if you put out videos like that, not only do the videos get removed, but you're legally liable and can go to jail for it. You can be sued for it, and so no one does it. All right? Now, does that mean that likely there's a lot of shit that actually gets away with in India, people who don't get called out on their bullshit, corporations who probably get away with bad things? Probably, yeah. So that's the other side of this double-edged sword, is that if you don't allow that stuff, okay, now what about people who legitimately try to improve things, call someone out for real bullshit that they've done, horrible acts, corporations that are mistreating their employees? Oh, you could just say it's just slander, right? So that's what I mean. Like, this is definitely a double-edged sword. At what point do you say, oh, it's censorship versus it should be protection of a person? And you know, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the person to really make that determination, but let me tell you something. I'd certainly like to be in that conversation. If YouTube ever decided that they wanted to actually try to figure out how to make their business better and wanted to talk with people who've been victims of this shit, I would be there day one. I will be involved in the process. I'm not saying that I want to be immune to it. I'm saying with the stuff I've been through, you can absolutely look at these situations and you can say, wow, here's this, and this, and this, and you know, what should have been allowed, what shouldn't be allowed. You know what I'm saying? I definitely don't want people to be above criticism. But if you're going to criticize someone, criticize them for something they've done. Not literally, oh, here's a ton of stuff that we're assuming is real with a bunch of things that could be circumstantially true. By the way, none of this would ever hold up in a court of law. It's all bullshit. But we can just talk about it all day on the internet and make fun of people for it and ruin their lives. That shouldn't be allowed. But again, at what cost do you create that level of where does it stop? Where does the censorship begin? I don't know. I don't have those answers. I do think there should be something. I just don't know what it is. I would like to be involved in the process to determine it, but I also don't want outright censorship of everything. Sorlax King to me $2. Says, thanks for answering that essay. Won't ever do a question that long again, I promise, but I meant what I said, and I appreciate your honesty as always. Now, everyone toss a coin to your Witcher. Let's keep the good vibes going. Thumbs up to the stream. Thank you, Snorlax, for the tip. Appreciate that. Okay. 2/3 of the way to the $100 goal with about 40 minutes left on today's stream. Let's continue. Fantasy Star PG asked the following. It's been a long time since I've been on your content, and I hope all is well, and it's nice to see that you're going strong. My question is, what do you think about Sony making video game movies? Sony is banking on being the next MCU, and they want to be pioneers in the market. While Uncharted did well, a big part of what was talent, like Tom Holland and the movie coming out right after Spider-Man, definitely benefited them in a good way. But given that Sony's previous video game movies with the Capcom properties, I'm going to remain skeptical until proven otherwise. Also, I've heard that there's a Days Gone movie being made. Hope it does well, but I know it'll be a hit to gamers if there's a Days Gone 2 with no source material. So, interesting take. Here's the thing. And I think we've also seen this with the Halo series, okay? Game universes absolutely can be translated into popular movie and television properties. The problem really lies in, at what point do you change the source material so much that it's not really representative of what you're calling it, and is that okay? Because, for example, with the Uncharted movie, although there's a lot of things in that movie that are representative of things that happen in the games, I don't think anyone's going to argue that Tom Holland is a good representation of Nathan Drake, or that Mark Wahlberg is a good representation of Sully. They're not even the same characters. They're just not. They're different. And it's fine because the movie's still good, but is that really Uncharted? Not really. So why call it Uncharted? Why not just call it its own entity and make another movie? Rather than saying, oh, this was Uncharted. When you watch that movie, can you imagine watching that movie and then playing the games? You're like, what the hell is this? This isn't the same thing, right? Take a look at the Halo series. Same thing, right? Where people are watching the show and loving it. But who loves it? Not the Halo fans. The Halo fans hate it. They're like, wow, could you possibly change the lore anymore? Isn't it true? Now, I didn't see the show. Isn't it true that Master Chief, this is supposed to be a guy who's a battle-hardened savior of the human race, single-handedly being almost like the Doom Marine in a way, going against all these alien hordes and invading armies, and he's always the one X factor that can get the job done. Gee, in the Halo series, let's have him lose his virginity. So I think I rest my case there. But you see, the point is that people still liked it. You see? People still liked it because it was good outside of being Halo. It was good, so they enjoyed it. So I think that's the problem. The problem is not that they're making these things is that they're calling them things that they're not. You've changed the source material so much. Did Halo the series have to be called Halo the series? Or was it an attempt to capitalize on the name to get artificial views? Did Uncharted have to be called Uncharted? Or was it an attempt to get people who are fans of Uncharted in theaters so they can sell more tickets? That's what it is. It's a marketing ploy. Okay? I haven't seen the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, but I've heard that's different, where the Sonic the Hedgehog movies at least make an effort to try to have the characters, the lore, and some of the plot lines from the games translated into the movies. For as much as you can do with a 16-bit side-scrolling platformer from the 1990s, they've at least done a good job. Okay? So that's cool to know. And if anything, maybe that's what people would not have issue with if they lean more towards the accurate rather than, oh, the artistic liberty creation, transformative work bullshit over here. You see what I'm saying? So, will they ever have an MCU? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think they may have a bunch of successful movies. I don't think they're going to have some kind of a Sony gaming movie universe that's going to be successful. I don't see that happening. But maybe I'm wrong. Could they have a movie universe that has Uncharted, Days Gone, The Last of Us, Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, God of War? They're all a cinematic universe, and they all tie to each other, but they're all different from the games. I guess it could happen. I don't foresee that happening, but I guess it could. It's possible. An anonymous $4 tipper says, some trolls of yours go too far. They'll attack people who tip you. I feel like there's a big factor of why people don't like to tip publicly. I agree. And I absolutely positively recommend that if you're afraid of that kind of activity on the internet, if you have your real identity tied to a name you tip me with, do it. You can tip anonymously. You can do everything anonymously. And I appreciate anyone who contributes in any way. I understand if you have to do it anonymously and protect your identity. That's what I said. There's a level of, let's criticize someone, or let's just attack everyone involved with this person. What? Why? Why are you attacking the person who tips them? It doesn't even make sense. But that's what they do because they're fucked up in the head. These people don't understand that they're not going to get me off the internet doing the things they do. They're a lost cause. They need mental help, and they're not getting it, obviously, because they're still here. The Snorlax King did another super chat. He says, the Sonic movies and Detective Pikachu are gold standard of adaptations. They're fun to watch and actually try to be faithful to the fans. There you go. Continuing on. Redemption Gaming asked the following. Hey, Big Phil, been a long-time fan of yours and your content since the 2014-2015-ish era. I vividly remember you answering a question years ago his question, about your approach about reviewing games. Now, I'd like to ask you something pertinent. Ever since you abandoned streaming again on Twitch, and last year you're now streaming full-time on YouTube, since that transition, what's the feeling like? What I mean by that is, how are the things different from when they were on Twitch? And if so, what are the positives and negatives of streaming and creating content on YouTube as opposed to the old methods over on Twitch? Thank you in advance. So, I already answered part of this. I already told you about what I missed from Twitch. So, we've already answered this on the show. But the second half of the question is, what do I like about YouTube? And I would like to answer that. Okay? Number one, having everything in one place is really useful. My streams, my on-demand videos, my community feed on the community tab of DSPGaming, having it all together rather than disjointed makes it make more sense. If you're a fan of mine, you can watch my streams or watch the video later, or both. You get caught up on my schedule and everything I'm talking about on my community tab. It's all here. Before, it was like, streams are here, videos are here, Twitter schedule's over here. You need to be following in 3 to 4 places to get all of that content. The jig is up. The CIA is finally here. I'm in trouble, guys. I'm sorry. They're actually going to be rappelling down any moment. So, this is the end. I hope you enjoyed 14 years of content. Here they come. Oh my God. Okay. Let's continue, shall we? All right. So. I definitely like having all my content in one place. I will definitely say that. Funny enough, okay, I will say the following. I feel that we have more control over the streams here on YouTube than we ever did on Twitch. Now that we have things in place such as sub-only mode, and we have other things in place as well, I actually feel like now what happens here is more controllable than what used to happen over on Twitch. The only kind of thing we're missing is the IP ban. If we could IP ban someone so they stop making 100 troll accounts, then that would be the best thing. But outside of that, everything else is pretty good. And I feel like now we have a community of people who come, who are enjoying the content, who can be here for the right reasons. On Twitch, you always had that half and half. Yes, half the people were there to enjoy, and the other half were this good old boys club of people who were kind of almost like hate watchers. I don't like them, but we'll sit here anyway, and we'll be here every day, and we'll try to dominate the chat. You have these people coming in, doing dumb shit every day. You got to deal with it. You don't really have that here. And I'm okay with that. Really, I am. I'm totally okay with having a more controlled and chill chat. I think we do a lot more things today. Like, for example, Final Fantasy VII, Earthbound. These are playthroughs that I'm able to do here on YouTube because I have a more focused audience. As opposed to on Twitch, you didn't have that focus. So there's things that work, okay? And again, the one biggest, absolutely best thing about doing this on YouTube and not on Twitch, all right? I don't have to walk on eggshells when I put out my content. I don't have to worry that I accidentally say something in the wrong way, or that someone misconstrues something I say and they spin it in a way that's bullshit and say I said something I didn't say. My streams don't get shut down on a whim by a fucking overreaching volunteer moderator like they did on Twitch, just to be fixed an hour later. All right? Ridiculously stupid shit. Just unreal how unprofessional Twitch is. I said that on the pre-stream, and I'll say it again today. The best word to describe Twitch as a business: unprofessional. Everything they do, the way they conduct themselves, the way they run their business is unprofessional and has been since day one. That's their major problem. If they brought in new management to run that business with an air of professionalism, set concrete rules that everyone had to adhere to, and everyone's on an equal playing field, that business would be the best. But they don't do that. They joke around. They act like it's a game. It's not a fucking game. People's livelihood are at stake over there, and they act like it's a joke. So that's why I'm not there anymore, and I'm not going back. All right? Okay. Thank you to an anonymous tipper who tipped me $4.20. Says, thank you so much for the Earthbound streams. I hope you'll stick with it to the end. I will. Because there's so much fun and a positive atmosphere when you're playing retro games you have a connection to. Take care, my man. Thank you. That playthrough is continuing tomorrow, actually. So there you go. Okay. Continuing on. Shout outs to my patrons. And by the way, you may recognize some newer names on here, because in the last couple of months, because people are now becoming patrons of mine in order to get private react videos, you're going to see there's some more people on here than there used to be. All right? So shout out to my patrons. There's not many at this level, but I appreciate everyone who does support me on Patreon at all in any way. That's patreon.com/DarkSidePhil. Here we go. Thomas McDonald, Stormforce Gamer, Sean Given, Richard, QPZ MWN, David Denmark, 17 Kyle 1, 2 Bar King, Planet Jeff, Big Tone 995, Tyarian, Slayer, Review China USA, and American MAGA Undertaker. Thanks to those of you who are supporting me over there. I really appreciate that. Okay. Now, we end the show with Twitter questions. Here we go. Our first Twitter question is from Tori. It says, out of all the games that you would consider your all-time favorites, what is it about them that stuck with you the most and made them special gems to you specifically? Let's see. Well, first of all, what are my all-time favorites? Street Fighter 2 and its iterations, Super Mario World, RPGs such as the older Final Fantasies 4 and 6, Chrono Trigger, Suikoden, Earthbound. Those are probably and of course, Call of Duty, but I would say some of the classic Call of Duties and maybe Modern Warfare 1 or 2, my overall faves. So the thing about those games is that I feel like if you play them, they're kind of timeless. And what I mean by that is you can play Super Mario World when it was new. You can play it today. and you still get the same level of joy out of the game, even though, yes, you can argue the graphics are dated. I don't think the gameplay mechanics are. I feel like the game is still just as fun to play in a modern era as it was in the 1990s when it was a launch title for the Super Nintendo, okay? I feel like those are games that at any point you could jump in and play them, and they're still fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could play any of those games at any time period, and although I wouldn't want to play them endlessly, you know, I could jump in every 2-3 years, play them again, have a good time. As opposed to another game where you played it once, you've seen it all. Okay, I don't really want to play that again until it's like, you know, maybe a reason. But those games are kind of like just joy. And let's be honest, most of those games I just mentioned are very nostalgic because of the time period they came out. Those games are my formative years as a gamer. So I look back to those times fondly. You know, being at my parents' house, my house growing up, my childhood home, playing Super Nintendo on my TV and having music on. I actually used to buy CDs and play them on a boombox next to me. Play music, have a drink or a snack, playing there in the summer with the nice air coming through the window, just enjoying games as a whole and having a good time with the Super Nintendo system, you know. And I can think back to those cool nostalgic times. It's a time, you know, attaches me to living in that time frame of the early 90s. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. And I think for every person, it's generational and it's different. For some people, it may be the PS1 era, the PS2 era, right? Xbox 360, PS3 era. Everyone's going to have an era of gaming. There's people before me. The NES era, the Commodore 64, the Atari. Those are classics to them. You know what I mean? It really was the Super Nintendo era for me. So, yeah, that's what I would say. It was, you know, thinking back, nostalgic feelings of games that I could literally play it any day from start to finish and not get bored of. You know, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, which we just played over the summer. So good, so classic. I'll still play it anytime to this day. Okay. Mike says, what are your top 5 JRPGs of all time? In no particular order, Final Fantasy 4 and 6, excuse me, I misspoke. So Final Fantasy 4 and 6, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound, and Suikoden 1. And I don't have a formal ranking. Those are just my 5 favorites. Joe says, does the number 86 that you have on your sports games characters jerseys refer to the 86th, meaning off the menu, or slang for being killed or discontinued? So, yes, the term 86 or 86th essentially means it's done with. It's over with. It's the end. All right? So when I see the number 86 on someone with a competitive jersey on, they're saying, I'm your end. You're done because I'm about to end you competitively. So back in the day, when I got Street Fighter jerseys and I made them and I brought them and wore them to tournaments, the number 86 is what I chose as the number to wear. Every sports game where you choose a number for your character to wear on their jersey or shirt, I choose the number 86. It's just been a running thing with me. I think it's a cool notion to say, I'm you know, we're about to beat your ass, we're about to defeat you, and, you know, 86 you, essentially. That's really what it means. But, you know, the term actually, the first time I ever even heard the term used, Green Day. There is an album that they put out in the 90s, and I forget if it was Dookie or the one after, Insomniac. And they have a song, I think it's called 86. Like, there's no return from 86, don't even try. Exit out the back. And there's, you know, there's all these lyrics or whatever. And I heard it used in that song, and I never heard the term 86 used before. And I actually researched it and figured out what it was. I was like, I like that. And that's when I started using it myself. So there you go. Okay, continuing on. Naughty Waffles says, what are your thoughts on the state of handheld consoles? All right, my thoughts are there are none. Handheld consoles are the same now as home consoles. Take a look at the Switch and the Steam Deck, which could be considered handheld consoles. They're really not. The Steam Deck is a portable PC, and the Switch is a portable home console, but there really are no dedicated handhelds anymore. If you take a look, there's no 3DS, retired. PSP, PS Vita, gone. Right? What you get now are hybrids. That's fine. Because I think the problem always was that you couldn't get the full-on gaming experience on your handheld as you were getting at your home console or your home PC. And I think that Steam Deck and Switch are likely fixing that, right? And that's a good thing, but I don't think you could even consider them dedicated handhelds anymore. They're really not. So I think the era of the Game Boy, the Game Gear, it's past. However, Tiger Electronic handheld games will never fail. You could still buy them in stores. I'm not kidding. They're still there. It's pathetic, but they're still there and you can still buy them. Ridiculously ridiculous that they're still being sold. Okay. If anything, I will say this. If anything, the modern equivalent of the what used to be old handheld games is right here. Your phone. Your phone is your mobile gaming now. It's no longer a dedicated handheld console. It's that phone playing a mobile game. Because mobile games are watered-down versions. They're not necessarily full-fledged games like you would play on a console or PC. And that's what you get on here. So that's your handheld, your dedicated handheld console now. And then you have your other ones at home. An anonymous tipper to me, $2, said, would you ever consider revisiting Fortnite during a special event, like a holiday event, to see how the game has changed because since last played it? They had a zero build mode where where it's the same game, but there's no building. It might be up your alley. I mean, I really have no interest in it. I played the game so many times over the years. I played it when it was new. I played it again when they updated it. I played it again when it became virally popular. I played it again after. I've seen pretty much everything there is with this game. I understand zero build. Okay, no building. So now it's just Battle Royale. Oh, you mean like other Battle Royale games I've played? You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't really care. Fortnite, been here, done that. It's super old news. The people who hold on to it are like, kids who like this is their game. They don't want to move on to other shit. I mean, a lot of Fortnite kids moved on to Roblox and shit. It's like, why are you still playing Fortnite? That's old news. I really just don't care about it. I have no desire. If you guys want to see me play Fortnite, it's very simple. Nominate and vote for it in one of my upcoming events. We got a Halloween event coming up, right? And then we've got a Christmas event that likely will happen. It's not locked in yet. That'll be a future goal. If those happen, get it in there. And then I'll check it out. You want to see me play it? Christmas event? Do it. I'll play it for, an hour, or so for the marathon. We'll give it a shot. But I'm not going to dedicate streams to that shit anymore. Okay? Thank you for the tip. Fraser McDonald asked the following. How much is a subscription to your YouTube channel for a month? Thanks. It apparently varies by region. I set it for $3.99 United States denomination. That's $1 cheaper than subscriptions are over on Twitch. My incentive was, hopefully by making it cheaper, even though it has less features than Twitch's subscriptions, people would still do it. Some have, some sadly have not. Okay? Good news is I get almost as much profit from that membership as I did as the subscriptions over on Twitch. It's just slightly less by like maybe 10 or 15 cents or something like that. So it's not a giant deal, but it's cheaper to you. That's why I keep it at that $3.99 level. Now, there are 2 other levels, but those levels are more expensive. However, they don't add any other incentive. And I'm totally transparent. I even have a video I recorded that when you go to click to become a member, it plays this video first. And I outright explain up front, there's no added benefits for those. Sadly, with YouTube, and again, this is one of the shortcomings of YouTube versus Twitch, they don't give you better tiered rewards. What I like to give people who are super supporters or ultra level supporters an exclusive emote to show off that they are, or maybe a special badge to show up that they are. Yes. Do they have that? No. Twitch does, but not YouTube. And here I am. I've been doing this now for over a year, almost a year and a half, full time on YouTube. Didn't add it. They don't care. So it is what it is. Thank you guys who do support the channel as members. I appreciate that. Last question from Cynical Doomer. Why not consider an online game to be played every other day in which fans can play you? You'll get trolls, but it'll be more engaging and supportive. Taking chances with random games that may be hit or miss is a bad formula. Sets you up for slow days. Okay? Because it's this simple. All right? If you can actively avoid it, if you can make it so that you do not create a situation where the trolls get attention, that is exactly what you do. You give them the least attention that they can get, because that's the reason they exist, and the more attention you give them, the worse it gets. I know this from experience, okay? There was a time many years ago where I had a lot of fans and a lot of haters, but the fans would overwhelmingly want these multiplayer events. In general, they went well. Over the years, what ended up happening is the trolls found more and more ways to abuse them. Half the time that I would try to do it, the fans wouldn't even have a good time. They'd be upset because, like, man, we really couldn't even get a match in today because there was always a troll or two on the team that ruined it for everybody, right? Then it just got worse and worse and worse, where they would try to find ways to use the voice chat, do this, do that. Essentially, those multiplayer streams became outlets for these trolls to interject themselves into my content and ruin the content, not only for me, but for my viewers as well, who are actually there to have a good time. I have not done multiplayer interactive content with my audience in many, many years. And guess what? I'm still here and everyone still enjoys my content, right? As much as you have to keep doing it. You have to do this. You have to do the multiplayer. No, I don't. I'm not stupid. I know the moment that I did it, all you're doing is giving them another avenue in order to try to screw with it. So why give them that avenue? The same reason people say, why doesn't Kat come on your streams? Well, let's see. When Kat moved in here in 2018, she came on a few streams. She was in one with Q&A, one other one, and then I think the Halloween event. So maybe she was on stream 3-4 times tops. The people on the internet got so toxic to her, right? Every time she showed up, criticizing how she looked, how she behaved, how she acted. Oh, see what she did? She looked off over here to the side. She's brainwashed by Phil. It's like the craziest, dumbest shit you've ever heard. All right? So just think about this. All right? Seriously. Think about this. How dumb this sounds. Why bring her back on the stream just to be another target of attacks and negativity and toxicity? Right? Why create that situation? Because when you create that situation, now you're opening up open season again for that activity. Correct? Right. So the funny part about it is, as much as these idiots would like to say, oh, but it would be so much better, don't worry, the fans would make it. Been there, done that in multiple ways. Multiplayer events, my wife being involved in content, and other ways. When you create the avenue, you open the door. And the last thing you want with these people is to open their fucking door to you. Really. You just want to leave it alone. I'm here in my lane, making the kind of content I make. I make a living doing it. You guys like it. Why are we going to break that up and create potential for them to basically get ahead or get any kind of attention? You don't do that. So I'm not going to present that opportunity. I enjoy the kind of content I put out. I do enjoy multiplayer content as long as it's just me jumping online with a random team. There's no reason to put my fans in harm's way. There's no reason for that online harassment to even be made possible. All right? Trust me, there's people literally sitting around, and there's nothing better they would love than to be able to have that opportunity. I'm not going to give it to them. Okay? We have 10 minutes left. So with the final 10 minutes of this stream, I would like to open it up to open Q&A. If anyone has any questions, let's do it. And if anyone has any last minute contributions, do them now so we can shout them out quickly, because I am out of here at 4. I still have to upload. I have to make dinner for my wife who's coming home soon from work. So I got stuff to do. I can't stick around extra. Okay? Okay. See, BITW awesome. I will address this briefly. He says, Kat is nice. She doesn't deserve it. She should not let it affect her. That's not life or reality. Not everyone is like you or me who can just say, it doesn't affect me. Sadly, there are people who have been through different things in life. There are people who have different mental states and different things going on that they just can't let it roll off of them like water off a duck's back. Shit actually gets to them and there's nothing they can do about it. They don't want it to, but it does. Not everyone is the same. Not everyone is Phil. Okay? So you can't just say, oh, just don't let it get to you. That's not life. That's not reality. That's you being closed-minded and not understanding not everyone is you. Okay? Okay. When am I going to hit 200,000 subs? We talked about this on today's podcast. We'll talk about it again. So here's the thing. Oh, by the way, Mango, he says I missed his renewal message. I'll read that in a second. Thank you. Here's the thing. We already hit 200,000 members. Or excuse me, I'm completely misspeaking. Let's try this again. We actually already hit 200,000 subs. We did. But it was between streams at one day. It was like earlier this week. And then immediately the trolls saw that and unsubbed a bunch of their troll accounts. Because right now, at any given moment, there's probably at least 100, no exaggeration, bot troll accounts sub to the channel. They use these to flood the channel like they're doing literally as I was speaking. There's people doing it right now. They come in with these clone accounts that are subbed and they do their nasty shit. That one gets banned. They go to the next burner account. They do it. That one gets banned. They go to the next burner account. So they have tons of these lined up, you see? And because of that, what they literally do is they wait for it to hit that 200K and they immediately unsub a bunch of them on purpose to lower the number. So the other day we were at 200K, but by the time that my late stream came and I was going to make the announcement, we were at 199, 970 something. What the hell? We lost like 30. Gee, okay. So I didn't say nothing. And then we were almost there and then we go down again. Yesterday we were at 199, 997. We were 3 subs away from hitting 200K. And then it went down by 10. And then it went up to 90, and then it went down by 15, and then it went down by 20. By the end of yesterday, we were at 920 something. 199, 920 something. They literally have nothing to do. They sit there staring at my fucking channel, unsubbing to keep it below 200K. This will not happen forever. They don't have tens of thousands of dummy accounts. They probably have a few hundred. What's going to happen is next month, new releases are going to start to come out, and between October, November, December, we absolutely will have enough legit subs to hit 200K, which is going to be random when we hit it, because these idiots will literally keep doing this sub, unsub bullshit to keep it fluctuating around. It's not going to last forever, though, so don't worry about that. The Snorlax came to me $4.20. So do you think the upcoming Mario movie will be any good? It's going to be animated, like, will it make a look of difference? Illumination is hit or miss. They're dropping the trailer at New York Comic Con. I should have voiced Mario instead of Chris Pratt. I don't know about that. But I have no idea. We have not seen an official Nintendo animated anything, right? So it'll certainly be interesting to see something outside of their games, because they really do protect their IPs, right? Their intellectual property. They don't license it out, or very rarely. I mean, how often do you even see Mario in another game that's not an official first party? Mario plus Rabbids is like the one exception. How rare was that, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it'll be good or not. I guess we're going to find out. When we see this trailer, I guess we'll be able to judge. Expand Dong. If another YouTuber named Video Game Donkey is financing an indie games publisher called Big Mo, good for them. I have nothing else to say. I don't know who that is. I know nothing about them. Good. Let them inspire more indie games. Let them finance them. Sounds good to me. I played Final Fantasy VIII when it was new and I hated it and I never finished it. It's definitely on my bucket list of games to eventually replay because I never got to see past, like, the second disc or something like that. No, I've never played The Longest Journey. I don't know what that is. What's up, No Sleep Real Vibes? What are your best strategies and sci-fi ways to play positive with all the drama and BS? Literally already answered that on the show. I'm sorry, I'm not reiterating that. I already did that. No, I don't know anything about a guy named Video Game Donkey. Don't know who that is. Favorite console of all time is the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. No, I don't want to go play Apex Legends. Don't care. Been there, done that. Just like Fortnite, been there, done that. Understand what it is. Has its own place in gaming. Understand those who like it. Thumbs up to you. Enjoy. Not for me. Played it for a while, got bored of it, done with it. Will I ever play a Gundam game? There'd have to be one that comes out that's pertinent and new and something that people want. There has not been one, right? In the time I've been making content, I don't recall one. Right? Nope. How about content with guests during the Level 1 podcast? I literally put together the Level 1 podcast in the time frame between when I end my night stream the night before and the next day. In order to have guests, you need to plan out shit. Like, for example, let's say a new game's coming out and, have guests, you need to have like a little discussion back and forth about it or whatever. But for me, my show is very, very impromptu. If there's gaming news that comes out overnight, boom, it's part of the show. If my schedule has a change, that's critical. If we have an event coming up and we want to do it You know, like we did this morning on the podcast, I immediately put up the poll. What do you guys want to see me react to on October 1st during the React event? Boom, there it is. This is not a planned out news show. This is not based on anything where there's going to be a dedicated topic of discussion. You know, it changes from day to day. So it's not that format of show that would even make sense that guests would be on it. You understand? No Sleep Real Vibes. On Tuesday, we're going to go into Game Pass and take a look at games and try to figure out stuff to play. Says, oh, when's a good time to play games like Echo Generations or other side games? We're going to look at them on Tuesday. We're literally looking at them on Tuesday and figuring out what you guys might want to see in the next few weeks to balance with Earthbound and Overwatch 2, because all the releases start coming out mid-October, so we're going to need stuff for the first 2 weeks. So there you go. Tuesday, we look at them together on Game Pass. Would I replay Persona 5 someday? Yes. It would be Persona 5 Royal, so it has the extra content. Was King of Fighters my least favorite fighting game that I played in the last few years? Well, it had no offline content whatsoever to speak of, and the online content was ruined for me within 3 streams. Pretty close. Street Fighter 5 is probably the worst, but I would say probably King of Fighters is a close second. Will I ever move back to Connecticut or move to Texas? No. Absolutely not. Under no circumstance. Ayaya says, are you secretly writing and publishing erotic fanfics under a different name? Do not blow up my spot. Would I do a Donkey Kong 6 redemption run? If that's Donkey Kong 64, fuck no. Hobo X says, you've been on the fence about asking or ending Ask the King for a while. At this point, do you think you'll hold out for 100 episodes of the show no matter what? No, because if the show ends up being worthless and not pertinent, I'll end it. As you can see today, viewership was good. People enjoyed it. We had some good questions, right? It was still good. There was no reason to not do it. But that might change. If it changes, why would I keep it going? We'll see what happens. Like I said this at the beginning of the show. We'll say it again. The next episode of Ask the King, Thanksgiving special, November 24th, 2022. Hope you'll be here if you can, live, and if not, on demand. I used to do this as a Thanksgiving special, and then I stopped doing it. I'm bringing it back this year as a Thanksgiving event. Okay? There you go. Half the show, I'm sure we'll talk just about Thanksgiving, which will be cool. I have no idea if I can play and record games on my 3DS. I didn't plug it in and try. How are my parents? They're old. They're old, and when you get old, some things are fine and some things are not. I think you can figure it out for yourself, but I'm not going to reveal personal stuff. X-Shooter did a super chat. Says, all right, Phil, great stream as always. Thank you, X-Shooter. All right, guys, it's time to wrap it up. Thank you for being a great audience. If you were here live, if you watch this on demand on YouTube, remember, so many ways to support my content offline, including liking, leaving comments, super thanks. Look at the description of the video where there's stuff about memberships and tips. If you like this show and you want to keep it going, support would definitely be appreciated. All right, guys? Thank you all. Episode 92 of Ask the King is in the bag. I hope you enjoyed it. It will return Thanksgiving Day this year. Remember to post up your questions on DSPGaming.com. If you become a member, you'll have priority to answer have your questions answered next time around. You saw, again, about 80% of the questions were from members for sure. If you pledge to my Patreon, $20 or more, your question will get answered for sure. There you go. Thank you all. Hope you enjoyed the show. Oh, Mango says, Phil, my membership message. Phil, you didn't call out my membership message. Arcade Cup had done a super chat earlier that I didn't see. Thank you, Arcade Cup, for the $1.11 super chat. And Mango Jewel Pods did a super chat shouting out Baxter Fam and Jasper Burnell Baxter. Wow, that was really important. Okay. Thank you all. Guys, great show. Until next time, thanks and peace out.